Welcome to the video. Before we start, I just want to say that I pride myself on providing quality content with accurate facts and theory talk. Research is something I should have nailed through my time spent in high school and university, but I definitely haven't. Making these iceberg videos has made me realize that I have to put extra effort in when it comes to research. I'm not here trying to make average, bare bones videos or excuses. I'm trying to make the best videos for people to watch that I possibly can. And research is just a major part of these videos, and I wish I'd put more effort into it. Don't get me wrong, I put loads of effort into these videos, but I think I should have focused more of that effort into research. Therefore, I feel like it's necessary to explain and elaborate on a few things in my Super Mario 64 and Legend of Zelda Iceberg videos. And then I thought we could talk about future content. I'm going to do it in this commentary style video. Here's the timestamps for each section of the video if you want to jump to different sections. I'll also have them in the description too. But before we start on all of that, I just wanted to say thank you. These two videos have attracted so many new people to my channel, and I want to give a massive welcome to you all. It means a lot that, you all thought my content was good enough in your eyes and it warranted subscribing to me. It's clear to me now that going back to making video essays was a great decision, so again, thank you all so much. It really does mean a lot to me. Anyway, let's discuss the Mario iceberg. So, right off the bat, most of the iceberg points at the top needed a little more explanation. Some people pointed it out, so thank you for making me aware. For some reason, I couldn't quite wrap my head around these properly, so here we go. There's some other things I want to talk about too, but let's start at the footage I used while discussing the Space World 95 beta. I couldn't believe I said that I wish the slide was in the game. I don't know how that went past me. It is in the game. You just gotta go up tall mountain and jump in the mountain. I knew that. I don't know why I forgot it. That's just it. I just forgot it. The coin placements look a bit different, but it's the same slide. Now, parallel universes. So first of all, I was told it's pronounced Panenkook, not Panenkoke. I got it. Secondly, I didn't really explain this very well. I said you need to hack the game to get the required speed to make it to the parallel universe, which you don't have to. You just need enough speed to compensate for Mario's de facto speed, and there are different methods on how to do this and different times it takes. But anyway, here's the gist of it. Mario's position can be any decimal number, but is converted to an integer number between negative 32,768 and 32,767. Any decimal number is shortened too. So the position for flaw detection will always be inside of a box, and that box is negative 32,768 to 32,767 integers long on each side. See, I had to write this one down. My script is just dot points at the moment, but that stuff, I just wrote that all. Integer-wise, Mario's position will always be the same as the flaw detection position. But if Mario leaves the box, then the position for Mario and the position for flaw detection separates, since the position for flaw detection loops in the negative 32,768 to 32,767 box. So when Mario is outside of this box, he's able to stand on collision because his flaw detection is checked on the course you spawn in. This creates a copy of the original course in a new box, making it a parallel universe. God, I'm such a dummy, man. Like, it really wasn't that hard to understand. But at least I understood that parallel universes aren't textured, meaning they're invisible. They also have no objects or enemies too, and will crash a Nintendo 64 if the camera follows Mario to the PU. Obviously, I didn't explain every part of PUs because there's a whole video about it by Panenkook, and we would be here for a while if I did discuss it all. The Impossible Coin and Goomba. I stated that the developers may have forgotten about the Impossible Coin and just left in the level, but that's not even the case. The one that I'll be referring to now can be found in Tiny Huge Island. The one I showed was also in Tiny Huge Island, but Panenkook managed to get it in 2014, and he made a new Impossible Coin public in 2016, and has yet to obtain it. So that is the Impossible Coin. Not the 2014 one I showed, but the 2016 one. So basically, coins are spawned in a certain pattern, and the pattern we're looking at is a 5-coin pattern, just in a line. And this one spawns 4 coins instead. At least, that's what it might look like. When Mario is 2,000 units away from this specific spawner, it'll spawn coins 300 units above the spawner, and it'll check to see if there's any floor below it, so then the coins can just sit on the floor. One of the coins spawns below the ground, so the failsafe kicks in and it unloads. Okay, now for the Goomba. I'm pretty sure I did say there's a spawning issue that has it spawning off the platform it's supposed to be on. See, 3 Goombas are meant to spawn on a platform, but there isn't enough room for it due to the Goomba spawning triangle formation. It's too wide. The 3 Goombas load and unload in a certain radius. Each Goomba has its own visibility radius too. So once they all spawn, one spawns off the map for 1 frame and then disappears since Mario isn't in its visible radius. These are the 2 major things I got wrong and didn't elaborate much on. I don't know how I managed that, they're not really that complicated. Panacook has great videos on them, so you should totally check them out if you can, links in the description. But anyway, moving on, Yoshi's saddle. So yes, this is a saddle that is discolored, but Yoshi's saddle is actually his shell. I read in a few places that he was actually conceptualized from Koopas, but I'm not sure how much validity that has. How Bowser got into the castle with his sub. I put the wrong topic title here. I went through and checked all of them, but somehow I missed this. I put the 1995 build topic here when I wasn't supposed to, obviously. So here's a little behind the scenes knowledge on how I edit. When it comes to the topics, I'll duplicate the one I used previously and change up the text to avoid reformatting the text each time. It's just easier like that, but I guess it makes an error like this easier to occur. The Got Milk commercial. Okay, seriously, am I actually missing something? It said that Mario got here early, but his star count is high enough to make it into Wet Dry World. The ad displays the kids with either 31 or 37 stars, which is enough to get to the 2nd floor because you need 30 to open the door to get to Dire Docks. You get 1 star for doing the board Bowser's sub-level, and then you get a key for defeating Bowser to use on the door to get to the 2nd floor. So seriously, am I actually missing something? If anyone knows what's up, please just tell me in the comments below. The 1995-07-29 build. Do not research. I didn't exactly elaborate on why you shouldn't research the build. It apparently has some MK Ultra style effects that can give you intense headaches. Just don't look at the penguins in your dreams. but in all seriousness, the video that explains this is by Hey, It's Steffi Kush, called Mario 64's Personalized Copies and Psychological Operations, Official Iceberg Explanation. It's a great watch. I do recommend it. Link in description too. Just watch out for the little surprise in the video though. Also, I think he might have helped to create the iceberg as well. So I think that's why it's an official iceberg explanation. Wet Dry World's negative emotional aura. I cannot believe I didn't show Claire and Luca the underground city. I completely forgot about doing so. Oh my god, it's so annoying to just think back and go, yep, I could have done that. Why didn't I do that? It was so obvious to do that. Like, other than just forgetting, I have no reasoning. I just have no other reasoning. Also, the Bowser room, it's Oni plays, not One plays. I get it now. Well, that's it regarding everything about the Mario iceberg. Now we'll move on to the Legend of Zelda one. Alright, let's just start it off with the biggest talking point of the video. Something dear to my heart. Majora's Mask and Skull Kid creating Termina. Honestly, do you think it felt good saying that my favorite video game was just a world created by Dark Power and then vanished after Link left? At least it was real for a bit, but this is by far the worst retcon I've ever read in my entire life. I counted it as a sad canon, but are we even able to? The creators of the game weren't closely involved with creating the book compared to the other ones. The book I'm referring to is HYRULE Encyclopedia. Some things just straight up contradict what creators have said about their games, and even the in-game laws shown to us. The only thing that can really be confirmed is the timeline changes because they're on the official Nintendo Zelda site. So then, what about everything else in the book? There are an absurd amount of errors found in the book, and it makes me think, how can we regard this as canon if it has so many errors? And it wasn't even heavily influenced by the game creators. By the way, I'll also just link all the errors in the description. It's mind-boggling how many there are. But it's an official Nintendo book, so it would be right? It's such muddy water, and I should have just stuck to my guns and disregarded what the book states is true. As I said before, it sucked having to write the history of Termina that I didn't believe in. This game was made in almost a year, and you can tell because of all the asset flipping and reuse mechanics. Don't use what ain't broke, basically. They somehow used this to their advantage as well and created a story around it, and the story it made sense with what they had. And that story was that Termina is a parallel world to Hyrule that has a big backstory. Just why would you change that? Just why? It accomplishes nothing, and it baffles me. I took the book's word, but not what I believe to be true. Part of me wishes that I just disregarded this encyclopedia change to the game, but part of me also thinks that it's okay that I included them because it's from a Nintendo book, an official Nintendo book, so it's probably canon, right? I'm a man with strong beliefs, okay? And even though Majora's Mask is just a video game, I should have discussed it as just a parallel world, rather than one made up by Majora's Mask and Skull Kid. Big regrets, but what can I do about it now? The video is published and I can't change that, so there's no point in worrying about it anymore. Despite these whack contradictions, I still think I was able to talk about Majora's Mask theories really well. Anyway, just moving on. The creator of the iceberg commented explaining a few things, so I'll go through some important things now. Firstly, potty-mouthed Wizrobes. They sound like they scream "fuck" when damaged in Wind Waker, and yeah, I can definitely see that. Link's a boobs guy. There are two important events I didn't even mention. There's a hug from Cremia in Majora's Mask, where Link is just thrusted into her chest, and then Link staring at Telma's cleavage for a few seconds in Twilight Princess. The Twilight Princess clip is... it's so funny. Here, here's a reaction of some other people watching it. Their reaction is just... it's amazing.
Oh god. Link is not looking at her face. Look at that!
You got yourself a deal, boobies.
I did never notice that before.
It's just so funny. I never noticed that either.
I'm screenshotting that shit. You guys don't even have to. I'm doing it.
I want to see you again in my bar. He's like, oh, I want to see you too.
Just like with most things, I just forgot about it. My bad. I also referenced the Great Fairies, but I mean, the ones in Breath of the Wild, they're just something else. Fairy tits. More tit talk. Okay, so I asked the question, why do fairies need them if they don't even use them? Apparently, this one was just pointing out that the Great Fairy in Twilight Princess has exposed breasts hidden behind her hair. Melon 1. This actually referred to the hero of Twilight Link being a descendant of Melon because he's a ranchman and he knows Epona's song. I do like that these theories are more open-ended sounding, like topic-wise, because like Fairy Tits is super open-ended, so is Melon 1. Link is a boobs guy is not so open-ended, but yeah, you can see what I mean. Now moving on, porning the Deku Princess. There's a joke about doing this in a strategy guide for Majora's Mask. I didn't actually know that, and that's pretty funny. Those are the theories by the creator that I felt like talking about. There's a few more that you can look at if you just search comments by top comments, scroll down a bit, you can see his comment, you can go through the comment section of the comment, and you can see more explanations and stuff like that. Alright, the big one. Sheik's genitals. I may have interpreted this in my own way compared to how others see it, but it's also very unclear on what is true, and I think it's gonna stay that way forever. I don't think Nintendo would elaborate on Sheik's junk. I said that he would have male genitalia if he was a guy in Ocarina of Time because of Sheik magic. I should have pointed out that there's a magical transformation when Sheik turns back to Zelda, so that was my reasoning. Magic transforming genitalia, basically. I did also state that Sheik was referred to as a guy in Ocarina of Time, but it might just be that Sheik is perceived as a guy in Ocarina of Time, which would make more sense seeing as though the disguise is very masculine. So honestly, it's really just up to interpretation at this point. Time Shift Ocarina. Okay, this may be referring to the Ocarina of Time being made out of a time shift stone, rather than one being underneath the Master Sword pedestal. This would explain why the Ocarina of Time is able to manipulate the environment around it, specifically time. I said that you never see Saria as an adult in the Seven Sages Are Dead theory. I now realize how that was interpreted. I know that Kokiris don't age, I just didn't script it well. What I should have said was that you never see her outside the Temple of Sages in the adult timeline, which would imply that she may have been dead. Also, this is just me going dumb bitch mode. I kinda didn't realize that Europe was part of the West when talking about freshly picked Tingle's rosy rupee land. I don't even know how that slipped by me. Sometimes the most simple things just don't make it to my brain, but it's okay. I can know the lore and all the blasphemous imagery in Majora's Mask, that's fine, but Europe being in the West? No, didn't faze me, I'm in my 20s. I'm in my 20s. How did I not perceive this? How did I not know? Whatever. Anyway, I just want to talk about something before we move on. I didn't mention it in the video because I forgot. Oh, I seem to be forgetting a lot of things, but the ending of Hyrule Warriors, spoilers for Hyrule Warriors by the way, has everything revert back to normal. For this game to become canon, an event would need to occur that brings the landmasses from the past back to the present day Hyrule after everything had been restored. Maybe not to the crazy extent it was in Hyrule Warriors, but enough for the references to make sense. Also, if you have amiibos, you can get specific or random items in Breath of the Wild. They come out of just thin air, or at least it looks like it. Like, Link will use his Sheikah Slate to summon the items. 10,000 years before the events of Breath of the Wild, the Sheikah had advanced technologically, so that's where the slate comes from. That's where all this Sheikah technology that you see in Breath of the Wild comes from. So it could be possible that they replicated the Gate of Time and put it into a Sheikah Slate, but who knows. I'm hoping that we see some sort of explanation in Age of Calamity. Speaking of that, I know it doesn't go in the timeline anywhere, and I kept referencing a photo where somebody had put it into the timeline, and I used that image to explain some other theories, and I confused a few people by making it sound like it's the actual truth, so sorry on my part. But hey, that's everything I wanted to talk about regarding the theories. I'm also glad that people really like the Valley of the Flood idea and visualization. If we can get a bad ending style game like Age of Calamity, then maybe Nintendo can make something like the Valley of the Flood. There were some other suggestions people had for it too, like branching pathways for the story and different endings. It's good fun to think about, honestly. Also, the Clocktown new music? That was just, that was purely experimental as far as content goes. I wanted to add to the final topic in my own unique way, and I thought that was a good idea, and then that was born. Most people enjoyed it, which I thought was great because the last thing I wanted was for it to just sort of ruin the fun of the final point. Does this mean a full version of crashing it into my face was confirmed? Who knows? Oh yeah, off topic, but the author for the Wario apparition mythos said my video was cool. So, woo! I think that about covers everything. Now that I've explained all of this, I just want to say thank you all again before we move on to the last talking point. The fact that so many of you stuck with me even though I screwed up a bunch of things means a lot. Like, truly. These videos kinda remind me of the Dark Souls series as well. That sounds super random, but just hear me out. We have the Super Mario 64 Iceberg video being Dark Souls 1, which I don't think I would have made if I wasn't inspired to do so by MISH and his video, so shoutouts to him. The idea of just talking about facts and theories regarding one of my favorite games got me excited to make the video, so I did. So just like Dark Souls 1, my video is good, at least I thought my video was good, but it's a little rough on the edges. And then, of course, obviously, I didn't want to stop there, so then we had the Legend of Zelda Iceberg video, which is Dark Souls 2, because of how different the Iceberg and my video was to the Mario one. They're still similar in many ways, but it's more quirky for a lack of better words. Don't get me wrong, I thought the video and Iceberg were good, just in its own unique, different, special way. It still deserves some love. Now, I don't mean to sound overly confident, but the next Iceberg video is going to be a Dark Souls 3, a grand entry for the Iceberg series. No hints on what it'll be yet, but you'll see in due time. I'm also planning on having a smaller Iceberg video come out before the bigger one, so get excited for that. Speaking of content, let's talk about future content. I try to read every comment, so I've seen some suggestions for icebergs and I appreciate it. So I've looked at some icebergs that you've all suggested, and I've also looked at some other ones that have piqued my interest, and they're all pretty great. Although, some of them have just the craziest theories that have like little to no evidence, but you know, I could work with that. I could cook up something. That's what research is all about. You gotta find things, you gotta connect things other people would never have imagined connected. That's what you gotta do, and I believe I can do that. But anyway, it seems that there is a want for these videos, and I really enjoy making them, so I shall continue it. I've also seen a small amount of people taking interest in my older gameplay videos, which is kinda nice. So I'm planning on making bigger content, like the Iceberg videos, with one or a few smaller videos sprinkled in between. Other than the Iceberg videos, I don't know what other big videos I want to make. Regarding smaller content, I want to make small theory videos, maybe some commentary or gameplay too. Is that something any of you would like to see? You can all comment suggestions down below too. That's cool. Oh, and by the way, bigger and smaller content just refers to whether or not the content will take a long time to make or not. I got a few video ideas in mind for the near future. I really do hope you'll all stick around for them. Anyway, that's been me. Thank you all for watching. I hope you understand that I goofed some things up while not explaining some other things properly. Some mistakes were silly, while others were just plain dumb of me. Do I plan on making another video explaining my lack of research or explanation on certain topics? No, because I don't plan on screwing up my research and explanations from this point onwards. Hopefully. I mean, just to be realistic, stuff like this might happen again. I can't see the future, but it definitely won't happen to this extent. What's done is done, we move forward. We're epic gamers, we move on, we don't just die, we respawn. I'm also just so freaking pumped to just work on these other videos I want to make. I'm so damn inspired, I'm feeling good right now. And with that being said, I hope you all have a fantastic day and a wonderful evening. I'll catch you all in the next one.